Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel Forever Altered. I'm Tammy Graham, and today I want to talk about your narcissist, soulmate or cellmate. Those two terms came to me the other day, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about that and a lot of thinking about my own situation and what keeps me in it and how I can be of help to you by sharing my journey and my struggles and the really ugly truth of what it's like to be stuck in a situation with a narcissist, because there are so many levels and it's very hard to talk to anyone about it, because most people are just going to think you're nuts. They will say, why are you still there? What are you doing? If it's that bad, why are you still there? And people on the outside, no matter how much information you share with them, will never understand the depth of complication that a situation like that can bring to your life on so many levels. And for my own situation, I know that you always have the question in the back of your mind, am I right? Is this person, in fact, a narcissist? Are they really a narcissist? Is this what this is about? And you try to research, until your head is swimming to determine that. And one thing I wanted to share before I go into the topic is that I myself decided to go and seek some therapy so that I could share everything, just really out there and share everything with another party who could give me some feedback. And I went to an online company because most of you would agree that it's hard to get away, it's expensive, and I don't know, maybe just the once a week little bit here and there really isn't helpful. And usually if you live in a small town, you're going to go to a place where you are familiar with the worker, and it's really hard to be honest about your situation, without looking like a crackpot. And maybe that's what we are. I don't know. I think the longer we're with a narcissist, the more that's possible. But I went with a company called BetterHelp, and I think it's betterhelp.com, but it's an online where you can actually text. You can do other options, but I have a therapist that I can text, and I text back and forth with him, and you get to pick who you want. And my second person was very compatible, and I really like how he is direct, and I'm very, very happy with the situation. And I think it's $45 a week, and that may sound like a lot of money to some people, but even if you could afford to do a month or a few weeks where you could just bounce your personal situation and all the ugly truth in it onto someone else who is a therapist and is trained and can say yes or no, you're right, or whatever, can give you some confirmation it's time to move on, or some inkling of there could be hope, or maybe give you some suggestions you haven't thought of. And so that's kind of the reason why I did it. I was just really, there are a few things that I still feel up in arms about, like generally a narcissist, they say, shows no empathy anywhere, and my narcissist absolutely adores his daughter, and our daughter, and she is going to be 4 soon. And sometimes he's a little too strict, but for the most part, aside from the handful of times that she has witnessed the arguing in his rage sessions, which really has been a small amount, because even he understands that that's not the time or place to do it. And so most of the time those situations occurred when she was in daycare, but there have been a couple times that she witnessed it. And so aside from that, which I know is extremely unhealthy, he has been a really great dad. And so for me, that is the a stumbling block. Like, you know, if it's so important to him, you would think that would be the key to getting his, if he could get his act straightened out, that would be the key to doing it. Because to him and how he talks, it is extremely important that our family, quote, stays together, that he and I raise her. And that's just how he feels about it. But he doesn't want to look at my relationship with him as a separate entity that requires separate things, and that it's okay for me to do that. So, and have those needs. And so to control me, he has his rage sessions, and he, you know, has to keep me down, I guess, to keep me where he thinks he can manipulate me. And 5 years in, a lot has changed, really. I mean, it was worse 4 years ago. 4 years ago was way worse. Why is it different? It's different because I respond differently. Perhaps, yes, I do walk on eggshells more. I do. Mostly, I don't necessarily I walk on eggshells around him, but I like totally go live my own life. I do my own thing, and I have, you know, I have a job, a business. I have things, you know, friends, whatever. I do my own things, and wherever he fits in, he fits in. So I come home in the evenings, and then, you know, here we play with our daughter, and life is halfway decent. But there's always a border around him as far as getting close to him for me, you know. And there will always be reminders, hurtful reminders of the fact that we aren't really close like normal relationships, and I know that, and he knows that, but I guess he knows that. I don't know. I mean, he ought to know that because he sees his daughter in a different light, and he is able to be what he needs to be for her, but he is not able to be what he needs to be for me. And you know, many different ways I've tried to ask of him to change or to work on, you know, being more loving or reach out to me once in a while or whatever, has always gone like on deaf ears. Nothing has ever come of it. And if you've watched any of my recent videos, I recently found one of the things that I had been holding on to, that he was always accusing me of cheating, and I was always, everyone says if they're accusing you, they're doing it and telling you. And so in the back of my mind, I was always prepared for that, but I was still hopeful that it really wasn't the reality. And a couple weeks ago, I was able to get to his phone. And when I did, I found evidence that he was cheating. I found videos of he with other people, more than one. And yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. But so I don't think I've made a video. I think I made one after that, but it's been over a week since I've made a video. So a lot has happened in my brain since then. And the biggest surprise is that in looking at his videos and looking at, you know, he had other things on there. He had porn on there, and some of the things that I thought was him videoing, he did show me was not. It was porn where he downloaded from some website. So there was both on there. There was stuff on there with him and other women, and there was also porn. And in looking at all of it, I was surprised to see that for this person having, you know, held my self-esteem hostage for the past 4.5 years, critiquing and cutting me down from head to toe, from everything, you know, from my hair to my neck to my feet to my ass to, you know, everything in between, and telling me how imperfect I was and how, you know, beautiful girls didn't even dress like that, and how I think I've said some of it. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm not going to take the blow to my own self-esteem and verbalize it. But he said some very, very hurtful things to me, extremely hurtful. Every time he has seen the smallest sign of weakness in me, it's like he can read my mind, and that's where he'll cut next. So like where the knife's going to hurt the most, that's where he's going to move next. But in viewing everything I have seen now on his phone, I am really shocked at the choices that he made in sex partners and in videos and pictures that he thought were good enough to keep on his phone. Because I actually feel quite confident now in my looks, and I want to say to him, whoa, I can't believe you were critiquing me, and yet I just saw this, So that's one of the major things that has happened since seeing that on his phone. I have actually gotten quite a bit more confident in myself, and maybe that's changed things. Now he's been on his best behavior. He has made a few little comments here and there about, where am I? I've been gone for so long, and he's not gonna. One of his texts where he's not gonna sit like a quote fool, and so I messaged him back and I said, excuse me, but it appears to me that I was the only one sitting as a fool, So and then I guess this was mean, but I will share this. The other day he was in the shower and he forgot to bring his clothes in, and he asked me if I would go get him a shirt and underwear and socks. And so I went into his closet and I got him socks and underwear, and I dug out the shirt that I had seen him wearing in one of the videos with this other woman. And so it was really mean. I took it into the shower and I laid it down in there and I left. And when he came out finally of the shower, he had decided to put his dirty shirt back on, and I found that shirt in the trash. So what did I do? I dug it back out of the trash and I put it back in his closet so I can torture him later. That sounds mean, but I'm reduced to that at this point. Anyway, so sorry for all that. That was way longer than I meant to, but I felt like I needed to do a little bit of an update since it's been over a week since I've made a video. So my topic, soulmate or cellmate. And as I was contemplating this, I was thinking of it, of course, from my own perspective, from the perspective of the victim. And they come out in the beginning as what you think this could be your soulmate. And, they're completely interested in you and they enjoy the same activities or whatnot that you do, or at least they're very interested in hearing about what you're doing. You're thinking to yourself, this really could be the one. I mean, this sex is great. And I remember in the beginning, having not realized what a narcissist even was, the very first time that my narc kissed me was the best kiss I've ever had in my life. It was the most romantic, pulled me in kiss I have ever had in my life, from ever. And it was the last time he ever kissed me like that. One time. He kissed me one time like that, and that was it. And but in the beginning, you're enthralled. My narc is very artistic, and he is smart. He's read tons and tons of books. And when I was in the first part of my pregnancy, when we were still, I don't know, I guess he was still love bombing me, but there were signs that things were changing already. But he, in the beginning, he would run me bath water, and he would put bath salts in it and bubble bath, and he would light candles, and he would say, just go take a bath, you'll feel better. And no one had ever done that for me before, and it was nice, and I liked it. And so in the beginning, you feel like they could be the one. I talked to mine and I said, I really just want to be married. That's, I'm not the kind that wants to go run around. I don't want to go to bars. I don't want to go out trying to figure out how to meet people. I'm happy as a one woman man, like that, or one, however you say that, one man, woman. There you go. And I don't care to have, a lot of stuff going on. And I said, so that's what I'm looking for. Like, in other words, I was saying, don't waste my time if you're not serious to where this is something you would want for your life too. Because I'm not saying you got to know whether I'm the one or not, but I'm saying if you don't want to ever be married, then tell me now, because I want to move on. But and he was receptive. And I guess looking back, he never really said yes or no, but I felt like as if he heard me and he was still on board, which was probably my mistake. But anyway, so here I thought he was my soulmate, as I'm sure a lot of you have. And then all of a sudden things just start going to hell in a handbasket. And, you don't understand. You're trying to make sense of it. You're like absolute disbelief. And so at that point, you're talking to people, you're researching, you're trying to figure things out. And, it's hard not to be defensive. You're very defensive because he's attacking you and your character. And you're like, oh, but you're wrong. This is me, and you're trying to show what you really are. And maybe he'll get it. He'll understand. It's just a miscommunication. And then once you realize it's not a miscommunication, it's just a character, trait of his. It's very depressing. And then that's the point when you stop talking and you stop telling people what's going on, because you don't want to be any more humiliated and embarrassed than you already are. You already are in your own home. The last thing you want to do is go, invite all your friends and family into the ugly situation and look like an idiot to everybody. So you just stop talking, and you just start, holding it up to into yourself. And that's partly why I wanted to make a YouTube channel, because there's all kinds of channels for people that are already done over with and out of the relationship, but I really didn't run across any that I can think of that were channels by people that were still in it and were talking to people that were still stuck. It's like we aren't at a recovery point yet because we aren't through it. We're not through the fire. The fire is still burning. We're not out yet. But anyway, so, into this journey with your soulmate, you suddenly realize that they're more like a cellmate to you than anything. You're stuck with them. You're trying to cater to their whims, and no matter how hard you try, it's never good enough. And you feel that they hate you. You can feel it. They hate you. And, it hurts. And so you spend your time trying to fix it. And then eventually you decide you need to get out. You spend your time trying to figure out how to get out of it. But in my thought process of soulmate or cellmate, what dawned on me is that phrase is the same for me as it is for my narc. My narc would say the same exact thing. My narc would say, in the beginning, I thought you were perfect. In the beginning, I thought you were finally the one. You were my soulmate. Remember, I told you, I decided in the beginning that I was not going to hurt you like I had. I was not going to use you, that you were different, and I was going to, treat you differently. So they come into it with the same expectation that you do. I honestly believe that. Some people say, and maybe some do, literally it's total manipulation from the get-go, but I believe it's manipulation. Don't get me wrong. But I believe that their disordered personality is set up in such a way that they don't set out believing that they are manipulating you. They don't set out believing that, they're putting you on this pedestal that you're 100% bound to fall off of. They don't honestly, they honestly believe you are the answer for them. Like they wholeheartedly see perfection in you. And of course, we know that is short-lived. And eventually, when you don't act and react the way they believe you should in all situations, then you become imperfection. You are the epitome of imperfection to them. I mean, you lose credibility every time you react in a way they wouldn't. And eventually you're at the bottom of their list, and they can't believe they were so duped by your perfection, that if they would have only known what you really were. And that's why a lot of their comments are, I'm going to make sure people know what you really are, because they believe that. They believe that they were duped into believing you were this great person, this perfect person for them, and that you were the manipulator. You were the one that manipulated them. And so it is a huge disappointment to them that you are not a carbon copy of them, that you do not react exactly the way they would react and do react to situations, or believe in certain things, like that you have your own belief system, your own ideas and thoughts. And that is crushing to them. It's bone crushing to them. It's what it is it's a narcissistic injury to them. And they believe that you purposefully set out to make them look stupid. That's another thing that you'll hear a lot. I'm not going to sit here looking like a fool. So they actually are looking at you as if you're the manipulator in the situation. Like you are the one who is causing all of this trouble and strife for me. And as you know, they're very easily disappointed. Very easily disappointed. I mean, the slightest little infraction can crush them, and also crushes their opinion of you. So they thought you were their soulmate, and now that they discovered that you were not perfect at all, and that you have faults and flaws and needs and desires and things that do not necessarily align with theirs, now they view you as their cellmate. And so I just kind of thought that was really interesting comparison, and how even though like we're at opposite ends, how we view things is still more similar than we would think. So I guess that's all I wanted to mention. For anybody that happens across this video or watching this video and you're not 100% sure, but you're getting involved with someone that you think has some strange personality traits, take a step back and listen to your intuition. Listen to your intuition. If those of us out here in the position that we are in could give you one piece of advice, it would be, the minute your intuition tells you something isn't quite right, believe it and run and save yourself all of this, so you do not have to go through what we've gone through. You will not win. You will not change their opinion. You will not change their opinion or thought of you or anything else. So if you discover in the beginning of the relationship that your ideals and theirs do not align, and that there is some funky, weird stuff about their personality, or that they are viewing you as in a way that no one else has ever viewed you in, they're viewing you in a negative light and telling you that they view you in this negative light, and you know in your heart that's not you, and you also know that no one has ever identified you that way, then you know something is majorly wrong, and you're most likely with a narcissist, and you need to turn around and run as fast as possible, because you will only be setting yourself up for heartache after heartache if you don't. Would we all agree on that? Say hell yeah. Anyway, I think that was it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Hang in there. Please give me your comments. I was thinking about starting a Facebook page, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that. If I do it, I want it to be a private page, because I think like you, I don't really want everyone in the world, in my real world, to know what I have to deal with. And I would want it to be a closed page where you could go in and feel safe to make your comments and so forth. But the reason why I would like to do it is because I don't really think it's hard to communicate. Like, I don't want to just be up here talking. I want to communicate with people. I want to have open communication, and it's a little bit hard in this avenue where it's just I'm making videos and I'm talking and talking and talking, and I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what it is that you want to talk about. We are in this together. We are in a situation where, you know, we need to either fix or get out of, and most likely it's get out of, but I'm just going to leave that little fix there for those of us that still try to, you know, think it's going to work out somehow. One topic I'm planning on doing something on here quickly or soon is financial independence, because I know that is a struggle for a lot of people. I've said this before, it doesn't necessarily fix the problem. It didn't for me. I am financially independent, but there are lots of complicated things that go into just walking away, or, you know, I can't just walk away because it's my house. That being one of them. But at any rate, some of you are in a situation where you could leave. You could turn around and walk away and walk out, you know, walk away from the apartment, walk away from the, you know, the house that you're renting or whatever it is, where if it's something that you can literally walk away from, but you can't because of finances. And so that actually is an area that I'm good at, educated on, whatever. And so I thought I would do a video about that to see if there was something I could, you know, some information I could pass on that would help people to get their finances in order enough to get out. Anyway, so that's all I have for today. Please subscribe down below to my channel, and please leave your comments, and I will see you later. Peace out.